There are times like LSU went through this past year where Jaden Daniels just quite honestly goes cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs on everybody that he plays. But he still had a really damn good offensive line. And if you're not able to go into the portal and develop really quickly, guys, you're going to struggle because you just don't have the depth there. Now, do I think that this staff knew that this day was coming, that Maason Smith was leaving? Yes. But they're going to have to find guys and dudes. I don't think you should overreact and just take anybody and their mama. You did that last year at DB, and it did not work out. The bottom line for me is simple. You're going to have to utilize the portal. And more so because it's so late in the process and the time has already elapsed, guys aren't going to be able to hit the portal. You're going to have to go through into spring, okay, or when the next portal window opens for if you go and get interior defensive linemen because of a numbers crunch and because you probably and truthfully need 3 dudes that can come in and rotate. They're going to have to be other guys that hit the portal because of just pure scholarship numbers that you have to maintain at 85. You need a D-line coach in here quickly. Now, if you're going into the NFL ranks, there is no telling how long that could go to. There is no telling how long that could go to. But you shot and went after Bo Davis. There doesn't appear to be a move there from Bo. And quite honestly, I don't know if there will be a move there from Bo. Bo Davis, obviously the defensive tackle coach at Texas. It just doesn't make a lot of sense for him to go. And look, am I an LSU fan and want to look at LSU things through an LSU lens? Yes. But if you're being realistic with yourself, it doesn't make sense for Bo to leave Texas because they're going to give him money to recruit. He's in the state of Texas, and he's getting paid extremely well. Other than him coming home, there is no sense or logic in doing it. You need somebody that can come in here and just change the game. You got to get Bo Davis is your Brad Davis in a way. Funny that they have the same last name. Could he come in here and help you recruit and get back better there? But I can't believe I had to say this because normally when you flip a 5-star, it's always a big deal. But now flipping Don McKinley from Texas A&M to LSU, because it's a bigger flip now because you need him. You 100% need him. Now, the question and the thought and everything that you will say in here, okay, about Maason Smith. He was a former 5-star guy too, just like Don McKinley. And I don't think that Maason, who had a year cut short because he got hurt on the first drive in 22 versus Florida State, he did not have a good year. Quite honestly, I thought he was a little overweight, and that happens. Trust me, from a guy who's torn 2 ACLs, it happens pretty easily to gain bad weight. Somebody's going to draft him second, third round, and because of his body, his size, and just his upside that he has, he's going to be drafted in the top 3 rounds. He's that kind of player, even though I don't think he played like that this year. It really hurts LSU in a massive, massive way. And I don't know how else to sugarcoat it. Like, I legitimately don't know how else to sugarcoat it. There is nothing. Look, I try to be the guy that's a glass half full, and I try to stay positive as I can. This is a big worry for me. It's a massive worry for me because I don't think that you have the time, really. I don't know if there's a lot of defensive linemen, okay, right now that will hit the portal in the spring. Now, will you get lucky? Maybe. And maybe you use some back channels that you're not supposed to, but you're going to have to if you want to be competitive. Because I do think because of Blake Baker and getting him in here, you're going to be better defensively, because we're about to talk about in just a quick moment in the recap of the 2023 season. Guys, you got to get better on defense. You just have to. There's one key area that if you clean up, guys, you're going to be 10-2. You're talented enough. You've recruited well enough to be 10-2. There is one massive area on defense, and I'm not even talking about personnel, that if you clean up, if you just do a third of the cleanup, because you're 10-2, you're in the playoff. Like there's no other way around it. Massive concern. And I just don't know where you go from here. I think that they have a plan and they will try to execute on that plan. I just don't know where you go from here, honestly, because I don't think people realize how bad it is. Right? Like I just don't think people realize how bad it is in that interior. So like they might have, guys, they're going to be walk-on bodies at defensive tackle that they need from just a depth perspective. But you're going to see a lot of run along the defensive line. The O-line's going to murder dudes in the spring. It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath. So, yeah. I know I just talked about, and Carter Bryant joining us in 5 minutes. I know that I just talked about my concerns of the interior and just defensive line in general. But if I look at 2023, this past season, at just one little recap, like if there's just one thing when I say, like, what am I going to remember the 2023 season for? Okay. Obviously, Jane Daniels winning the Heisman is the highlight of the 23 season. What that young man did with his legs, what he did with his arm, the amount of points he scored, the amount of yards that he threw for, guys, he accumulated for 50 touchdowns in the regular season. The best player in the country. Now, everybody claiming for Penix, you look like a fool right now. But the 23 season is the biggest what-if season, in my opinion, that LSU might have ever had. Because you've never had the dynamic player at quarterback outside of Joe Burrow like you just had in Jaden. Nobody has been like that. It's the biggest what-if season because if you can remotely, and I'm talking about even just from a small aspect, been better on defense, guys, there's a strong possibility you're playing on Monday night, but that's not it. Because as I see in the comments, 10-3 wasn't bad. Guys, when you have an offense like you just did, 10-3 is the floor.